Invasive species represent a significant threat to the ecosystems and economies of the United States, necessitating drastic measures to control their spread and mitigate their impacts. These non-native organisms were often introduced inadvertently through globalization and European colonization, posing profound challenges to native biodiversity and local economy. For example, European starlings, brought to North America out of a desire to introduce all the birds mentioned in Shakespeare's works, have since flourished uncontrollably. They displaced native bird species and are vectors for disease, destabilizing ecological balances that have existed for millennia. The economic toll of invasive species is staggering, with estimates reaching around $120 annually, encompassing damages and control efforts. Over 6,500 non-native species have established themselves in the United States, disrupting agriculture, fisheries, and natural habitats. Carnivorous mussels alone cause approximately $1 billion in annual damage to water infrastructure across more than 30 states. Similarly, the Burmese python is wreaking havoc on wildlife populations in Florida's Everglades, while the emerald ash borer has decimated millions of ash trees, causing financial strains on municipalities, property owners, and industries reliant on these trees. Given the considerable ecological economic repercussions, the United States must adopt aggressive strategies to eliminate these invasive species. Immediate action is essential to protect native species, maintain biodiversity, and reduce the exorbitant costs associated with their presence. Addressing this issue with urgency and rigor will be crucial in preserving the natural heritage and economic stability of the nation. So without further ado, let's see which animals are considered the most invasive species in the United States. 1. Burmese pythons. The invasion of Burmese pythons in Florida represents an ecological crisis of unprecedented magnitude. Initially introduced through the exotic pet trade, these massive serpents native to Southeast Asia have established a formidable presence in the swamps and marshes of the Sunshine State. While these pythons are not typically a threat to humans, the dangers they pose to local ecosystems are severe and far-reaching. A heartbreaking reminder of their potential threat to human life came in 2009 when a 2-year-old girl was tragically killed by an escaped python. This incident underscores the inherent risks associated with keeping such powerful creatures. In terms of population density, experts estimate the number of Burmese pythons in Florida to be in the tens of thousands. This staggering figure is a testament to their prolific breeding capabilities and the challenges associated with controlling their numbers. Despite the tireless efforts of the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, QFT, which has successfully removed thousands of these pythons, the population remains resilient and pervasive. In one particularly noteworthy year, over 1,000 Burmese pythons were captured and removed from the Everglades alone. However, this feat hardly made a dent in their overall numbers, illustrating the colossal scale of the problem. The ecological damage inflicted by the Burmese pythons is alarming. Small mammal populations, once abundant in regions now occupied by pythons, have plummeted. Some areas have reported more than a 90% decrease in sightings of key small mammals, such as rabbits, raccoons, and opossums. This reduction has a ripple effect throughout the food web, displacing predator species that rely on these mammals for sustenance and disrupting the balance of the local ecosystem. Florida's biodiversity is under siege, and the long-term consequences of this shift are still unfolding. The presence of Burmese pythons not only disrupts current ecological balances, but also poses a significant threat to the future stability of Florida's ecosystems. As apex predators, these pythons can grow up to 23 feet in length and weigh more than 200 pounds. Their voracious appetites mean they consume a wide variety of prey, including threatened and endangered species. This predatory behavior further endangers already vulnerable species, exacerbating conservation challenges. The python invasion thus becomes a critical issue, not just for current inhabitants, but also for future generations who might never witness the diverse wildlife that once thrived in Florida. 2. European starlings, or Sturnus vulgaris. One of the primary reasons the United States must take decisive action against European starlings is their devastating impact on American agriculture. These birds have earned a notorious reputation for their voracious appetite for grains and pitted fruits, leading to substantial economic losses for farmers and the larger agricultural industry. Each year, starlings consume and damage vast quantities of crops, leaving farmers struggling to protect their livelihoods. This significant consumption not only reduces the yield, but also jack up the costs associated with pest control and crop protection measures, effectively eating into farmer profits and increasing food prices for consumers. Moreover, the European starling's impact extends beyond mere crop destruction. These birds are fierce competitors with native species, often driving them from their nesting sites and outcompeting them for food resources. Starlings use their aggressive behavior to monopolize areas that would otherwise be inhabited by indigenous birds, such as woodpeckers, bluebirds, and some species of owls. The displacement and decline of native bird populations represent a disturbing trend for biodiversity in North America. The loss of these indigenous species disrupts the local ecosystem balance, leading to the potential extinction of various native birds and the subsequent weakening of ecological integrity. The arrival and proliferation of European starlings have thus led to significant disruptions in local ecosystems. Their sheer numbers and aggressive nature ebb away at the delicate balance of the flora and fauna, causing adverse effects on other wildlife. The starling's opportunistic feeding habits mean they will consume a variety of insects and other small organisms that native species rely on for sustenance. As a result, the ecosystems become less diverse, and the interactions that many plants and animals depend upon are diminished or lost altogether. This ecosystem disruption feeds into a larger environmental issue, where localized ecological harm can spiral into larger regional challenges. Public health is another crucial aspect negatively impacted by these invasive birds. European starlings are known to contaminate agricultural feeding troughs with their waste, creating a thriving ground for the fungus Histoplasma capsulatum, which leads to histoplasmosis, a severe lung disease. This poses a significant health risk to agricultural workers who are frequently exposed to starling droppings. The spread of this disease can lead to severe respiratory issues and other complications, increasing healthcare costs and impacting the quality of life for those affected. Public health officials have recognized the danger posed by starlings, and these concerns underscore the urgency of addressing the starling population. Beyond agriculture, natural ecosystems, and public health, starlings also pose a severe aviation threat. One of the most tragic incidents involving European starlings occurred in 1960 when a swarm of these birds caused a catastrophic plane crash, resulting in 62 fatalities. The risk of bird strikes is not only a historical issue, but remains a modern-day concern, with starlings frequently involved in near misses and potentially deadly interactions with aircraft. Their ability to flock in large numbers increases the risk of such incidents, prompting airports and aviation authorities to view these birds as a significant and ongoing threat to air travel safety. 3. Asian carp. Asian carp represent an overwhelming threat to the natural ecosystems and economic stability of numerous regions within the United States. Having spread across 23 states, primarily in the Midwest and southern regions, these invasive fish have wreaked havoc on native aquatic populations. The severity of their dominance is evident in areas such as the Illinois River, where Asian carp now constitute over 70% of the total fish biome. This alarming statistic underscores the urgent need to address their burgeoning population. The economic repercussions of an unchecked Asian carp population are equally concerning. The fishing industry, a cornerstone of the regional economy, faces potential annual damages running into hundreds of millions of dollars. Communities that rely on commercial and recreational fishing could experience devastating financial and social impacts if the invasive carp is not effectively controlled. Management efforts such as electric fish barriers installed in the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal illustrate the lengths to which authorities are willing to go. However, these measures have proven to be both costly and only marginally successful, highlighting the immense challenges faced in combating this threat. The most pressing concern is the looming danger to the Great Lakes, which support a lucrative $7 billion fishing industry. Should Asian carp breach this critical aquatic system, the repercussions could be catastrophic for both the environment and the economy. Their rapid reproductive rate exacerbates this threat, with a single female capable of producing up to 1 million eggs in a single spawning season. This reproductive efficiency, combined with a species adaptable nature, makes eradication a formidable challenge. Consequently, the ongoing battle against Asian carp requires sustained effort, innovative solutions, and significant financial investment. 4. Feral swine, also known as wild or feral boars, hogs, or pigs, are rapidly becoming one of the most destructive invasive species in the United States. Their presence and proliferation present a severe threat to agricultural productivity, biodiversity, and public health, necessitating immediate and aggressive action for their management and control. The scale and scope of the damage caused by these animals are staggering, with economic, ecological, and social repercussions that reach deep into various facets of the nation's livelihood. One of the primary concerns with feral swine is their significant contribution to agricultural damage. These animals are known to plow through fields, uprooting essential crops, destroying pastures, and contaminating water sources. Their rooting behavior, while instinctive, is highly destructive, leading to the loss of crops and the degradation of arable land. This damage not only jeopardizes food production, but also puts a financial strain on farmers who rely on these crops for their livelihood. Annually, feral swine are responsible for around $1.05 billion in agricultural damage, underscoring the urgent need for effective management strategies to mitigate these losses. Furthermore, feral swine act as vectors for various diseases, posing a significant threat to both livestock and human populations. Diseases such as pseudorabies and swine brucellosis are of particular concern. Pseudorabies, caused by the pseudorabies virus, can infect a wide range of animals, leading to severe neurological and respiratory symptoms. Swine brucellosis, caused by the bacterium Brucella suis, can infect both pigs and humans, leading to chronic illness and reproductive failure in livestock. The spread of these diseases can have devastating effects on livestock industries, leading to loss of income and increased costs for disease management and control. In addition to agricultural and health impacts, feral swine significantly affect local ecosystems and native wildlife. They compete with native species for food and habitat, leading to a decline in biodiversity. Their omnivorous diet. They consume a variety of plants, animals, and even other wildlife, disrupting the balance of local ecosystems. This competition can lead to the displacement and decline of native species, many of which are already threatened or endangered. The ecological impact of feral swine extends beyond direct competition, as their rooting and walling behavior can lead to soil erosion, water quality degradation, and the destruction of natural habitats. With an estimated population of about 6 million feral swine spread across 35 states, the scale of the problem is immense. States such as Texas have already invested millions in control efforts, highlighting the adaptability and resilience of these animals. Despite these efforts, the feral swine population continues to grow, demonstrating their ability to thrive in diverse environments and climate. This persistence calls for a multifaceted approach to control and management, combining aggressive removal strategies, increased public awareness, and revised hunting regulations. 5. Domestic cats. Domestic and feral cats, scientifically known as Felis catus, stand as one of the most significant threats to native wildlife in the United States. These seemingly innocuous pets have a darker side when they are allowed to roam freely or revert to a feral state. The impact they have on native species is nothing short of devastating, with millions of birds falling prey to them annually. Cats, with their innate hunting instincts, are supremely effective predators, adept at catching a wide variety of prey, including birds, small mammals, reptiles, and amphibians. The statistics are alarming. Domestic and feral cats have been responsible for the extinction of over 60 species of birds, mammals, and reptiles, highlighting a catastrophic ripple effect on biodiversity. The presence of cats in the wild disrupts the delicate ecological balance, initiating a chain reaction that results in ecological chaos. Native species, which have evolved over millennia without the pressure of feline predators, this disruption leads to an imbalance that often favors invasive species, further jeopardizing the native flora and fauna. The predation pressure exerted by cats can lead to a decline in certain species populations, reducing genetic diversity and threatening the long-term survival of these species. For instance, the populations of the eastern bluebird and the New England cottontail have been severely impacted by predatory cats, showcasing the reach and severity of the problem. The severity of this issue has led to some controversial statements and viewpoints, such as Jonathan Franzen's infamous declaration that cats must die. While extreme, this statement underscores the urgency of addressing this conservation crisis. The conversation around controlling domestic and feral cat populations often evokes strong emotions, as cats are beloved pets and longstanding companions to humans. However, the ecological reality is that unregulated and free-ranging cats are a severe threat to native wildlife and biodiversity. The paradox of cats being both cherished pets and lethal predators necessitates a balanced and humane approach to their management. Given their widespread presence, cats pose a ubiquitous threat to wildlife across the entire continent. Management strategies must be multifaceted, incorporating public education, stricter pet ownership regulations, and targeted control of feral populations. Initiatives such as trap, neuter, return programs aim to reduce the number of feral cats over time by preventing them from reproducing. However, This approach alone may not be sufficient given the scale of the issue. More comprehensive measures, potentially including controlled culling in areas of critical ecological importance, might be necessary to protect vulnerable wildlife populations. In addition to these measures, responsible pet ownership practices, such as keeping cats indoors or supervised when outdoors, can mitigate some of the impacts. Public awareness campaigns highlighting the environmental consequences of free-ranging cats can shift perceptions and encourage more responsible behaviors among cat owners. Collaboration between conservationists, policymakers, and the community is essential to devise and implement effective strategies. 60. Nutria, also known as swamp rats, or river rats. Nutria, scientifically known as Myocastor coipus, are an invasive species that have become a significant environmental and economic threat in the United States. These semi-aquatic rodents, native to South America, were initially introduced to the United States for their fur in the early 20th century. However, once the fur market declined, many Nutria escaped captivity or were released into the wild, where they have thrived and wreaked havoc on local ecosystems. The resurgence of Nutria in the San Joaquin Valley in 2017 has prompted renewed eradication efforts. This reappearance underscores the need for continuous monitoring and control strategies to prevent their unchecked population growth. Nutria are infamous for their prolific breeding capabilities. A single female nutria can produce up to 3 litters annually, with each litter containing as many as 13 young. This rapid reproductive rate allows populations to explode in a short period, making early intervention crucial to control their spread. Beyond being a nuisance, nutria pose serious health risks. They are carriers of diseases such as tuberculosis and septicemia, which are transmissible to humans and domestic animals. In areas with significant nutria populations, the likelihood of disease transmission increases, posing potential public health crises. These diseases could overwhelm healthcare systems, especially in rural areas where medical resources are already limited. And the environmental impact of nutria is devastating, particularly to wetlands, which are crucial for biodiversity, flood control, and pollution filtration. Nutria consume up to 25 of their body weight in vegetation daily, including the roots and stems of wetland plants. This feeding behavior not only depletes the vegetation, but also leads to extensive erosion and the destruction of natural habitats for numerous species. Without the stabilizing plants, the integrity of wetland ecosystems declines, negatively affecting water quality and increasing the likelihood of flooding in nearby human-inhabited areas. 7. Gypsy Moth. The gypsy moth, originally introduced to North America in the 19th century, has become one of the most destructive invasive species affecting forests and urban areas. Each female gypsy moth can lay up to 1,000 eggs, which can result in massive infestations if not properly controlled. The sheer reproductive capacity of this pest poses a severe threat to both the ecological balance and economic stability of the regions it infests. An unchecked population of gypsy moths can consume large quantities of foliage, leading to defoliation of trees and shrubs. This defoliation weakens trees, leaving them vulnerable to diseases and other pests, potentially resulting in widespread tree mortality. The economic toll of gypsy moth infestations is staggering. Over a span of 14 years, more than $420 was spent on controlling these pests, and this figure does not even account for the additional expenditures borne by private landowners and industries. The impact on timber is particularly severe as defoliated trees produce less wood, leading to significant losses in timber production. Furthermore, tourism and property values suffer in affected areas as the aesthetic and recreational appeal of forests diminishes. Homes and properties in infested areas often see a decline in value, and the local economies dependent on tourism and outdoor activities take a substantial hit. In response to this ongoing threat, the USDA's National Gypsy Moth Management Program has been pivotal in monitoring and managing the spread of this invasive species. The program allocates substantial resources for surveillance and control measures, employing a variety of strategies to combat infestations. For instance, in 2020 alone, over 556,000 acres were treated with various control methods, including the aerial spraying of biological pesticides. These aerial spraying campaigns are particularly effective in covering large areas quickly, delivering targeted treatments that minimize the population of gypsy moths. Despite the efforts and resources directed towards managing this pest, the gypsy moth continues to pose a serious ecological and economic threat. its ability to reproduce rapidly and cause extensive damage means that sustained vigilance, continuous research, and proactive management strategies are essential. Without these measures, the spread of the gypsy moth could escalate, leading to even more profound impacts on our forests, economy, and biodiversity.